Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
I had an idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump straight to the first off. Hi, I'm tired. I know it's a fucking an old burnt record at this point, but I'm tired. So I have a green tea here, a granta, a fucking granta. Then
Green tea, dude.
The lag does sound better, by the way.
Yeah, it
doesn't sound like we're stepping over each other. Anyway, I figured I'm just gonna do this podcast the whole time. I figured, since
so you get tired at least, right?
Since it's a good workout. Since we only have like one main topic this week, spoiler alert for the listeners, we could talk about Dark and Darker maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Just for a minute.
I think it would be choice.
We got enough announcements and trailers and shit to go through to kill most of the time.
Why are you tired, Chris?
It's just the same old reasons. I'm always tired because I don't go to bed early enough.
Yeah.
And
well, Super Bowl Sunday, baby.
Super Bowl Sunday.
I stayed up so late. All right. Sometimes I drink on work nights, but I like take it easy. You know, I just have like a few. I did not take it easy last night, dude. I was up until like almost 1. And
same. I went to bed at like 12:45.
Yeah. Then I woke up at like 5, which is like almost 2 hours before I need to get up. And just could not fall back asleep. Took a piss, took ye old morning after drinking piss, which was like in itself 4 minutes long. Laid back down and just couldn't fall back asleep. So I'm running on like 3 hours right now, man. Yeah, well, more than
3 hours.
I am exhausted. I went in and straight up, even when I do drink before and then I go into work, like I'm not like, I hate people who are like, oh, I got fucked up last night. So like I never mention it. I went in and like a couple people were like, hey, good morning. How are you? And I'm like, I just want you to know I'm hungover right now. So give me like 2 hours before I can really be my cheery self.
I'm not trying to be the guy who brags, but listen, I got a little wasted last night.
I feel like it's like socially acceptable when it's Super Bowl Sunday to admit that you're a little hungover at work. It's not like I had a pounding headache and was like vomiting in the bathroom. I was just a little groggy, you know? Holy
and the
shit.
Eagles lost, right? So you have a couple extras at the end.
Dude, one of the doctors there,
extras too.
He was doing procedures today, and I swear to God, I think he accidentally told me he was hungover. He was like, I stayed up so late. He's like, I'm dragging today, man. And he kind of went like, and he's like, you know, it was a rough night. I'm like, you almost just told me you stayed up drinking late, and then you've been putting cameras in people's bodies today. So yeah, it was. I gotta say, it was a underwhelming match in the end, of course, but it was fun to watch. I liked our little watch party thing that we did, me, you, and P towards the end. I wouldn't mind doing that every now and then. That was a good time.
It was fun. And it was a really solid. It wasn't like one of those low scoring games where it's boring to watch because they get stopped every time. Decent scoring game. A couple really horrible calls or missed calls. And, you know, disappointing end. I think Philly was the better team on paper, but they lost. That's how it goes. You don't always win. How it be, what it do, what it is. We have stuff to talk about.
Couple things.
Just a couple. They released, of course, the Super Bowl trailers, and we've got a big one to talk about today in The Flash. They also released another trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. They released spots for Creed 3, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Scream 6, Air, which I didn't know was coming out, and I'm kind of looking forward to it after watching the trailer. Spoiler. Right. History of the World Part 2. And there's some gameplay for Jedi Survivor, which came out of nowhere. But I'm like, oh, shit, that comes out like the end of next month.
Really soon, yeah.
Which is fucking crazy because I'm really amped about that game. Before I get too far into it, how are we doing today, Derek?
No, we already did that. Remember, I did the whole hungover thing, and now I'm here.
No. Tell me. I just want you to tell me. I want everybody to think that we, like, the podcast skipped, and we're replaying it from the beginning.
Oh, I got you. So sometimes I drink on weeknights, right? Yeah, okay. That's as far into that bit as I'll go.
Welcome to episode 93. 93. We're chugging closer and closer.
We're chugging
to that
chugging and sugging
milestone. Chugging and sugging. Sugandese is the official language of the Cynical Nerd podcast. We are, you know what I think is going to happen? I think we're probably going to end up taking another break from the podcast for a couple of weeks before we hit 100 because of baby number 2.
Right.
I don't know. We haven't talked about this, but, you know, I figured it was expected at least a week, if not more. But, you know, we have baby number 2 coming up here pretty soon. And Sam and I have to adjust to life with 2 of them.
Dude, that's going to be a nightmare. You got to do that all over again. I should be saying supporting things, right? But
no, you're absolutely right. It's okay. I'd prefer you to like just hit me with it as opposed to being like, oh, it's going to be great. You're going to love every second of it. I'm going to be exhausted and annoyed. And immediately I'm going to be like, why the fuck did we do this again?
I feel like I will say this. I think, and this is a nice thing. I think I was talking to one of the doctors at work about this who like, he has, I think a 2-year-old and he just had his second kid. And he kind of like was mourning like, oh man, we finally got one sleeping through the night. Now we're starting all over, hitting the reset button. And I was like, you know, but if you know that you want to have multiple kids,
get it out of the way.
You might as well get it out of the way. Exactly. Get it to have the kids, leave it in, come inside, the kid, and then do it again. Like whatever, how long until you think it's, you know, and
come inside. It's fun inside. Oh no.
But they really though, like if you have a kid, I have a friend who they have like a 13-year-old girl. And they have like a 1-year-old boy. I'm like,
no,
you got like the worst of both worlds, man. You got the hormonal teenager and you can't sleep because you have a fucking 1-year-old. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. We waited longer than we wanted to. We wanted Grayson to be like 3-ish when she got pregnant. So he'd be popped out already, but we'll be okay. It's just I'm going to be tired and I don't know exactly, like I'm going to have to do some disclosures here. Samantha handles most of the morning routine for Grayson most days of the week. Like it's
I
just
thought
the
you
way
were going to say she handles most of the like birth giving process. Like that was news. Like just so people who don't have kids are aware, she does a lot of that. I don't do a whole lot. I'm not involved in much.
Spoiler alert. I know I give the impression that I helped push it out, but I didn't. No, she's naturally just a morning person. She wakes up earlier than I do, even if like we didn't have a reason to. And he wakes up early and she's a light sleeper and I'm a fucking heavy sleeper. So it like she just ends up always up with him in the morning. And like that's gonna have to I'm just gonna have to be up.
Yeah.
Like so my mornings are gonna get earlier than they are now. And we're going to be juggling, you know, it's just going to be some adjustment periods to figure out like what exactly is needed and what kind of free time is going to be there.
I think you guys were like psychotic the way we were too. Like the first, I don't know, 6 weeks, we only slept like an hour a night each. Like it was fucking awful.
And the problem is that I know that I'll be better this time around because I know what to expect. And Samantha will not be because she has really bad anxiety about that stuff. But all right, we're going to get into it. We got some week interview shit to talk about. We got some trailers. I'm going to just do this on Front Street. If you're here just to listen to us talk about the Flash trailer or any of the other trailers that came out and during the Super Bowl, you can go ahead. I don't do this often. I'm going to throw you a bone here. You can go ahead and skip. And you can skip right now to about the 57-minute mark. And so, you know, you can check that stuff out. You can also, we'll probably clip it and put it up on the YouTube and Twitters and all the fun stuff, all the things the kids are doing these days. Speaking of which, you can find us at facebook.com/thecynicalnerd, Twitter @thecynicalnerd, TikTok @thecynicalnerd, YouTube @thecynicalnerd, wherever. It's just, we got them all except for Insta. That one still eludes me, but
still working on it.
Let's be fair. If I had it, do you think it would be up to date? Really, guys, what do you expect of me? All right, we're going to get into it. Let's start off with some DC stuff. We're going to start with some DC Week in Review, and we'll probably start the trailers with the Flash as well.
Why don't you plug socials, and then we can talk about our recent excursion into TCS.
I plugged socials.
I'm sorry. I was communicating with Veronica on the side, and so I missed that. You're absolutely correct. Now, wow, that's embarrassing. Don't cut that. Leave that in.
No. I'm going. That's 2 back to back. Me asking you how your day was twice. Because the second one was like I was trying to check our email to see if we had emails, and my brain just immediately flowed to like, "How you doing?" And then you were like, "Well, you asked me." I'm like, "Fuck me, I did." So that's 2. That's it.
right.
We said we were tired.
It's true. It's true. And there you go.
We said
There's the cream is in the pudding, or however that fucking.
But Derek is right. We plugged the socials. Why should we have plugged them, Derek? What happened recently?
We recently started our second excursion into TCS, or the Cynical Stream, TM, copyright pending, with oh fuck, what is it called? A Way Out, which is Hazelight Games like game they did before It Takes Two. We've kind of been in like TCS limbo for a while, like not knowing what game to play. We've had a couple ideas and nothing really felt like, bang. And so we figured It Takes Two was so goddamn good. Let's just do another Hazelight Studios game. And A Way Out so far has been a pretty good time. I didn't know it was like a quick time event game, but we got some pretty good moments on Saturday night. That was a really good time. So I can't wait to do more.
It was a very good time. And I find that the best games for us to, not only does this game do the camera work for us, so I just got to pull my stream over and it's what both of us see all the time. But it allows us to, it almost feels like a riff track. Like we're just making fun of the situations that are happening. So we had some good jokes that came out of it. And look for those clips over the next couple days. We're finally caught up on all the YouTube videos that I was slacking on. Remember that weird editing issue I told you about last week with 91? I wiped it and redid the project from scratch. Still did it. So that episode's just not on YouTube. That one's only audio. You'll never find it on YouTube.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, weirdest thing ever. I literally started a fresh whatever. No point in going back into it. Anyway, let's dive in. First up, Derek.
Yes,
my friend. Yes, sir. I'm going to try and group these by topic, but they're not in topic order, so I might fuck this up. The first one is about the DCU and the weird nature of the Elseworlds tales. A couple months ago, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, they announced something out of the blue, or should I say out of hell.
God damn it. God damn it.
Sorry. Keanu Reeves' Constantine film is getting a sequel. It's kind of has a cult following now. People seem to look back on it very fondly. I don't think it did all that well financially when it released. Dog is rolling around on the floor. I thought Grayson was sneaking up behind me. It just heard thump, thump. I don't know how well it did financially when it released, but it wasn't like a critic smash. They didn't know, people didn't hate it, but universally it wasn't like, this is amazing. And it's got this real particular feel, which is like late 2000s superhero gritty film.
Yeah.
I like Constantine a lot. And they announced the sequel was happening. And then James Gunn and Peter Safran took over the DC universe in films and television and animation, and everything was immediately up in the air. According to a Warner Brothers spokesperson who just spoke to Entertainment Weekly, this Keanu Reeves Constantine sequel is indeed still in the works. And as you would expect, if you've been following the news with the DC Universe stuff, if it came out, it would just be under the Elseworlds title. It probably wouldn't be tied into the rest of the DC Universe. Akiva Goldsman's been tapped to write the screenplay, and it sounds like he would be involved with the film. That's a good thing, because Akiva has done some stuff with Seth Rogen that we like Preacher and some of the boys stuff, and I'm on board with that. I am happy to hear that this has not gotten chopped, gotten cut, whatever I was trying to say. Met the axe. I don't know. Went to go see the guy in Dark and Darker, Barbarian. That guy.
I was kind of, I'm still sort of worried. This feels like one of those things that could sit in limbo forever, and then eventually it does get scrapped. I hope it doesn't. Constantine, you're right. The first one has there's just something distinct about it, and it's not the best movie in the world. It falls into, it's like sense of identity is interesting, but it does fall into a lot of tropes that it's just I don't know, but don't all action blockbuster movies kind of do it. I mean, what else? I love Keanu Reeves. I'd suck his dick. No questions asked. And
no questions, huh? I'd have at least one question. Why me? Why have you chosen me to do this?
Yeah, what's so special about me? My one question is insecure about me. It's not like I'm trying to stop it from happening. Why would you choose me? Isn't there someone better than me out there?
Yeah, did you point to the guy behind me? Are you sure?
Love him. Love Keon's. Love Inu. I think that's what his mom calls him for short.
Inu. That's a cute name. In all honesty, he seems like a fucking honey. Every story I've ever heard about people meeting him or running into him in public, he seems like he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
There's also a couple funny pictures there's varied pictures of him meeting different women, and he's always hands off. Have you seen that? He's always like, not getting in trouble for this. He seems like a good guy. I didn't know he lost his first wife to cancer, I believe.
I think his daughter too. I think he lost a kid, and he's still a very positive guy. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty certain he lost his wife and kid.
I didn't even know he had a kid. So let me look it up.
Yeah, look that shit up.
Keanu Reeves.
While you're doing that, let me ask you something. Did you ever watch?
Oh, you're right. Oh, he lost his daughter at birth.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awful.
Fucking tough, dude.
Yeah, very positive dude though. But I guess that's why he looks sort of morose sometimes. But did you see a movie called? I just had it and now I lost it. Always Be My Maybe.
No.
It's like a rom-com. It's like it's kind of cheesy, but Keanu Reeves has a cameo in it, and it's like it's worth it just for that.
Oh yeah.
It is Valentine's Day tomorrow, so if you need a rom-com to watch, just throw that into consideration. Veronica and I really love that movie.
Need the old ram cam.
The old ram cam suggest.
Boop. I booped my mic. Okay. Moving on. This is in line with DC stuff. Warner Brothers Discovery is apparently thinking about changing streaming plans. As you all know, if you're not living under a rock, there's a massive streaming war going on right now with a ton of different services. Some doing better, some doing worse, some about the same. According to sources with knowledge of the plan, the newly merged company is finding that Discovery customers are not warming to the idea of paying more for the same content. No shit. Currently, HBO Max is $16 a month, or $10 on its ad-supported tier. The similar tiers on Discovery Plus are $7 and $5, respectively. Discussions are veering towards Discovery Plus remaining as a standalone service, as opposed to merging the two together at a higher price point. They've been calling. There's a mysterious new Twitter account called WBD Plus, like Warner Brothers Discovery Plus.
Awful name.
Which
terrible.
It does not. Yeah, it's garbage. And we don't know. We don't know what's happening with it. I only brought this up solely so that I could say HBO Max is a pretty solid streaming. There's a decent amount of content.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the content is content that I like, which makes more of the library relevant to me, as opposed to Netflix, where 90% of it is like Veggie Tales. I don't find like, and therefore I feel like the price where it is right now, non-ad supported, is still okay by me at least.
No, I know I'm middle with it too.
Okay, I know I'm a middle class white guy, and everybody's yelling at me throwing money around at streaming services, but I think it is. And if they were to merge it with I don't give a shit about Discovery Plus. That's why I don't subscribe to it right now. If they were to merge it and try to push that extra $5, I don't know that 20 would be worth it. I would probably start acting like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. And what I'm saying is, I'll steal your shit. So
without your permission, I'm going to take it.
At the very least, leave them separate, and then you can pay for what you want.
Pay for what you want. Exactly. When you said the thing about Discovery, like branching off and doing its own thing, I think that makes perfect sense, because I never watch Discovery shit. I'm sure there are people who do watch Discovery shit, but they cannot make up the majority of people who are subbed to. I don't know. It would just make the most sense, I think, to split them up. I actually, we were talking last night about speaking of the big game, because we can't say the S word,
TM,
or we'll be sued into oblivion by the FBL. Wow, NFL.
The football league.
We're gonna watch baseball season this year. Anyway, Hulu live TV is super expensive, so we're like, all right, which ones can we cut? And we're like going through the list. First of all, HBO Max is nowhere near the most expensive, and I think it does have the most content. The reason people are shitting on Netflix so much, I mean, the password sharing thing, sure, but like the drop off in content for being by far the most expensive streaming service is like, that's the thing that's annoying. So even if HBO Max went up a little bit, I'd feel okay with it. Now, hopefully they're not listening and they don't gank, specifically my monthly premium up $10 or something. But
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a lot of shit on there. That was the one that we came across. We were like, Hulu, maybe, well, Hulu obviously we need for the thing. We're like, Netflix can probably go. And then we were like, HBO Max, no question. It's got to stay. That one cannot go.
Yeah. Cannot go. We have important things to do.
Mm-hmm,
okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Listen, I have this big Hollywood Reporter article in here that goes in depth about the implosion of Justin Roiland and some interesting stuff about the fact that he and Dan Harmon apparently have fallen out years ago and had barely been speaking to each other. Do we want to do this? Because I feel like I put this in here because I thought there's some cool tidbits in here. And the longer I sit with it, the more I'm like, if these accusations are true, then fuck him, move on. Like, get him out of here. Here's the door. Whatever. Apparently you've been in a bag of shit for a while. We had speculated when we talked about him before. We were like, well, maybe they should just cancel the show. Like he probably did a decent chunk of the writing. I think I said, or was at least the seed idea for a lot. Apparently the answer is no. Apparently he did almost nothing besides the voices for a while. I guess we're kind of giving you the summary right now, but it was just more of like, this guy's kind of been a piece of shit for a little bit. And it makes me a little angry when you read it, because when you see his face, you know the kind of
he is. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It seems like initially, like I agree. I don't think we should do a deep dive, but I mean, the summary is, it seems like initially he was a lot involved in the writing, where like Dan Harmon was like the story writer and Roiland was like the bit writer, and like obviously he does a lot of like ad-libbing and shit like that. But as time went on, he just started to annoy not just Dan Harmon, but like the other writers and the other just people working there. Like he was a distraction on purpose because he just wanted to piss people. He's just one of those people that's annoying on purpose. And little by little, they just started building up little bricks and walls to like, look, just show up and do your lines and go home. And apparently that's been the case for a while. I don't ever like to really say like, hey, fuck that guy until like the actual, case has finished. But I think this is a pretty safe bet here. Like this guy's kind of a piece of shit and people are coming out. The only thing I really wanted to say about this is it's crazy to me. I'm not saying this with a smile on my face. It's unreal to me. Not that it was ever okay to do like the crazy workplace sexual harassment thing. But like, there's been such a fucking magnifying glass on that kind of behavior that it was talking about shit that he did in 2021. I'm like,
and you're like, what?
Me Too had been going on for like 5 years at that point. Like, how could it even cross your mind? I never I've always work is the one place I don't make sex jokes. Like I do it with, in Hat Chat and all that. But work is like, has never been a place. But like, if you're a famous person and people know you and can talk, even more is on the line there. How can you think you were going to get away with that? How in God's name?
There's some really bad stuff in here.
Yeah. Gross stuff.
And not just, no. So here's the thing. And I'm admitting a failure here in the way I think about the world, I guess. And it touches off of what you just said. The Me Too stuff happened and it felt like everywhere things were coming out, people were getting shut down and canceled. And you're like, oh, well, I'm not saying that was your only chance, but it felt like if you were going to say stuff about like, it just felt like in today's culture, you can't hide that kind of stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. And it gets to a point where, you hear somebody say something and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to make a, what's the word I'm looking for? Confession here. You start to, I wouldn't say doubt, but you're like, okay, there's no way they've been around through all of this Me Too stuff. And this is just now coming out. It starts to add to this. And I'm not saying I'm believing people less, but it does add an air of doubt sometimes. And then I read something like this. And if this is true, and every time I heard someone say Me Too didn't do anything, like it's still happening. And maybe I went, yeah, okay, in my head.
Yeah.
And then I see this and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like such an asshole. He's apparently sending DMs to like the former Mad Magazine editor, Ali G, and saying like the most lewd shit do a skit about dicks coming on, like really horrible garbage things to say to another human being, let alone a female, and unprompted. And if you look at his face, after you read that,
It
you
just
go,
makes sense.
yeah,
It just all comes together. Yeah.
You would do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So fuck Justin Roiland. It's the official. I will say this. Veronica and I were talking about this. We were like, all right, fuck that guy, but Rick and Morty is going to suffer from him leaving. I understand he's not writing the jokes, but he's selling the fucking jokes. He sells them very well. We've seen many times over, you can be a total piece of shit and a talented person at the same time. This just happens to be the case. I'm not saying they shouldn't have gotten rid of him. Of course that was the right move, but the show is going to suffer for it beyond a shadow of a doubt. I think we're only going to see another season or two before they just go like, all right, on to the next thing. I had no idea that he had so many projects. Like I knew about Solar Opposites or whatever it's called, and I can't believe that that's still going on. That show was so boring, but they got rid of him too. Hulu fired him.
Good.
Or whatever, asked him to resign or whatever the fucking corporate term for it is. But yeah, fuck him. Good riddance.
Yeah. He sounds like an overall scumbag. Even when he wasn't sexually harassing people, the shit listed in the article about his social awkwardness and just saying things like, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this whole show in VR and not have to see each other? Like,
yeah,
he just sounds like a piece of shit. So moving on, we won't be talking about him anymore. Okay, I mean, unless, never mind. I was going to say something really bad.
I have an idea of like the direction you were going to go. So
unless he decides to shut that all conversation immediately with one swift action done upon himself, maybe he should. Okay, moving on. If you guys have been living under a rock, you might not know that. I think I said that, or oh no, I'm having deja vu. I feel like I said under a rock earlier. If you haven't been paying attention to the news or to us, because we've talked about this before, Microsoft has been trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and they've been running into problems both here in the States and abroad. And this particular article is about the UK regulators basically telling Activision Blizzard that maybe they should break themselves up to get the deal approved. Now, Activision Blizzard was apparently so concerned the FCC would deny the merger based off of things like taking the Call of Duty IP to one game developer and what that would do to the market, that they, ahead of the FCC's public decision, they announced things like, we guarantee for the next 10 years Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation. They were going to suggest signing a 10-year deal to that agreement, to that effect. And the UK regulators, which by all accounts seem to really be trying to do things for consumers over there, those remedies that they suggested included 4 stunning possibilities. I'm not saying stunning, the article says stunning, but I agree. They are in fact pretty ridiculous. One of them was divestiture of the business associated with Call of Duty, so selling off Call of Duty to I don't know, another third party that they could handle it themselves. Divestiture of the Activision segment of Activision Blizzard, divestiture of the Activision segment and the Blizzard segment, or prohibition of the merger. So they're just saying like, either you break off like Blizzard, or you break off Activision, or you just like give somebody Call of Duty, or you can't do this in your current form. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. That basically means they won't. I mean, as far as I can tell, it sounds like a death knell to this whole agreement, because there's no way that they would do this. What do you think?
Here's what I think. There are some things, there are a lot of things that go way over my head. And the laws involving like mergers and what a monopoly is and isn't, that's some of those things. A lot of this article was just like word salad to me. And even what you were saying, you explained it better than this article did. It was just like, I caught maybe only like 70% of that. It sounds like they're preventing the sale. They don't want to have a monopoly. And then game developers basically only have one choice of who can publish their games. I don't know. I'm just a dummy on. I got to be honest. And this is it. This is a dummy area for me.
That's okay. That's okay. The only thing I would bring up, I guess, to wrap this up is, and to also shed some light for you, is the FTC, Federal Trade Commission here in the U.S., went so far as to file a full-blown antitrust lawsuit. Mm-hmm. The UK is not doing that, but they're saying you would have to sell these things off before we would approve this, merge. And in every instance, console exclusivity appears to be like at the heart of the regulators' concerns. So they're pointing to things like Starfield, which was clearly going to be a Bethesda game, and then they were purchased, and now it's an Xbox exclusive. And it's kind of hard to argue with the regulators when you did the thing that they're afraid you're going to do if you buy another company. Now, I'm not saying PlayStation is perfect. PlayStation is known for buying up studios and making the games exclusive. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think at the heart of this, I think it's the scale of this merger that scares the FTC and the UK Regulation Committee. Anyway, the whole point of the story was
so is the FCC pushing for console exclusivity or against?
Against.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
They're saying this is bad for consumers. The FTC, at the heart, the mission is supposed to be to make things better for us, to give us more competition in the marketplace, stop monopolies from happening, and they failed miserably because most people in America have two choices for internet. But we'll talk about that some other time. All right, moving on. Moving on. Let's do this little fun piece of news. It's another week here at the Cynical Nerd Podcast, and that means another poor attempt by Sony to adapt a Spider-Man property that's not Peter Parker himself. There is apparently going to be a live-action Spider-Man noir series in development at Amazon Prime Video. If you'll remember, Into the Spider-Verse had Nick Cage voicing the 1930s detective style hero. And they're going to give that guy his own movie, and it's apparently just not going to be Peter Parker.
Not Nick Cage, though, right? Just the character.
As far as I know, no. Variety is reporting, the sources say Peter Parker will not be the main character, but they do seem to think that the premise will be similar to the comic books. I'll be honest with everybody. I've never read the noir comic book, nor do I even know what they're about, besides the fact that it's set in 1930s New York City, and the main character is an older, more grizzled Spider-Man than you've seen before. The only light in the darkness here for me, the only thing in this entire article that really stands out is that Lord Miller, who did the Spider-Verse film and have done the Lego films, are going to be producing this. So there's some talent dipping their hands in the bucket. The story of the comics, just for some background, because I have it here in the article, I didn't look this up, is set during the Great Depression and features a more hard-boiled, morally gray version of Spidey, who acts more like a vicious vigilante. One of the noir arcs that began published in 2020 took place in 1939, just before the start of World War II. It's all Spider-Man leaving New York City for Europe while investigating the death of a woman in a nightclub. Like, very kind of down to earth, what are they called? Detective noirs. It's in the fucking name. Spoiler alert. I don't know how I feel about this. I didn't read noir. Obviously it was popular. It sold. It's hard for me, given the nature of Spider-Man, to imagine this sort of twist on the character. And it's really got to be like an extremely solid wait and see for me. I have nothing. I don't want to be negative Nancy about it. I also don't necessarily think I'm going to love this on paper. You know what I mean?
It's hard to feel excited for it. It's like, even though the writers from or producers from Spider-Verse are involved with it, it's like, doesn't it come across as one of those things like we've talked about with Star Wars, how it's like one tiny side character in one episode of one show is like, they have a show now. Like, that's what it feels like. Even though he was good in the film, I understand they're not expanding on the character from the film. They're just like taking that established character from the comics and doing his own thing. But it just feels like they went like, what if we took him and did a live action version for him? And I just can't imagine. I feel like that, first of all, this is the big thing. I feel like he only works in animation. Like, that's what makes it, I don't know. That's what makes it, the style makes sense. I think it's just going to look weird in live action. It's going to come across like Sin City, which was cool when you watched it when you were a sophomore in high school, but now it looks like fucking just butt butter. It did not age well. But we'll see. I mean, Amazon shows have been pretty I was going to say hit or miss, but there's really only 1 or 2 hits, and the rest have been big misses. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Is there any word on like? I guess it's not Scarlet Witch. The one with the woman from 50 Shades, who's playing
Madam Web.
Madam Web. That's it. Is that coming out like prior to this? Because that would probably be like a good indicator for how
it's coming out in 2024. So considering we're just hearing about this noir show now, I'd have to imagine it's coming out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It could go into it. That'd be kind of neat, I guess. I still don't I need to be heavily convinced that a Madam Web movie is still a good fucking idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Godspeed, Sony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
And we'll still have Across the Spider-Verse either way, so everything's going to be okay. Dude, I can't wait for that fucking movie. My God.
That movie looks pretty, as the kids say, litty titty.
I don't think they say that anymore. I think that's what we think.
All right. I'm not going to, I feel like we just did all the antitrust talk and I don't want to keep doing corporate maneuvering. Disney had a huge earning call. Here's the gist of it. They're going to continue to focus on streaming. Derek, just in case you didn't hear me. No shit they are. Like no fucking shit they are. We talked about Iger taking back over from Chapek. They're worried about savings, even if that means cutting budgets on big projects or cutting projects in general. We have no idea what they're going to do, but Disney's a big company. They have parks.
Mm-hmm.
They have TV shows and movies, so they're going to be cutting jobs in a lot of that, parks and movies and TV. They'll be refocusing on, once again, surprise, franchises. And you might be thinking to yourself, people want new IPs. And then Bob Iger says something like, sure you do, because Strange World bombed. Strange World, this new animated movie, did
you watch
no
it?
Money. I did not.
I kind of want to, just because
I kind of do too.
Yeah,
we can watch it next week.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
If I don't write that down, I'm absolutely gonna forget that. So hang on. Let's see. Strange World. And I mean that movie bombed. So the answer then, if I'm Bob Iger, is like, well, do you really want original movies? Because Avatar just came back and is now like one of the top grossing movies of all time. Yeah. So they're going to be adding more Avatar shit to their parks. A lot of this is corporate, blah, blah, blah. The franchises they're going to focus on are Zootopia, Frozen, and, say it with me, Toy Story, because they can't leave well enough alone. And although you gave, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful endings you possibly could to a trilogy about toys that talk in 3, they still made another one.
Yeah.
The ending to 3 is beautiful.
I think I told you that 4 does that like without spoiling it. It does the same thing that 3 does, where it feels like an ending. Veronica just walked by naked. I saw her whole naked body. It's right there. It never gets old. It always. What a broad. Sorry, that's the mother of my child. What a woman. I love you, honey. That totally right. I saw her whole full naked body, and it wiped out what I was saying. Okay.
Because the blood left up here and
went down there. Exactly.
Evacuate. Yeah.
4 does the same thing where it's like, this is the ending. It's over now. We have completed the story, and now they're doing another one. It's like, okay. How many times are you gonna do this, guys?
How many kids you got?
Yeah. Oh shit.
That's why 3 is so good though, because it's like the end of Andy's grown up. He's going off to college, and the whole movie is about the toys trying to find a new place in the world, and they do with this sweet little girl. And the ending is so beautiful. He gives her the box of toys, and they're going to be good. They're fine. And Andy's going on because he's a grown up, and that was supposed to be the end, and then it wasn't. And so they're just going to keep milking this until we joked about this. They're going to keep milking this until they make a bad one and people stop watching it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
so hopefully that's 5,
Yeah, and unfortunately, instead of going out with a bang, it's going to go out with a shitty reputation because they're money, money.
That stuff.
It's stuff that everybody wants, maybe that I spend too much of. Yes, I know exactly what it is. Okay. This is actually the last news article we have, and it's Nintendo Direct. Now, listen here. We don't like Nintendo, both of us.
No.
We're going to go through most of this, not all of this, because a lot of these games I could not care less about.
Yeah.
And this is not a podcast for you. It's a podcast for us.
Yeah. Makes us feel good.
Cast no illusions on yourself. We're not here for you. I'm just kidding. Please don't hit stop. Okay, they had a Nintendo Direct. They announced Metroid Prime Remastered. It's out right now. I think the physical version is not out this second, but you can go buy the Metroid Prime Remaster on the Switch right now. This is the second remaster, I think. Yeah, second complete remaster. I think it's like
it's got $30,
$40. It's not
really?
50.
30 wouldn't be terrible.
I don't think it was 50. Tell me, Zaddy. You look it up. I'll keep going. Because this is a title I don't care about, but people should know it's coming out, right? Advanced
$40.
Wars. Well, that's more than I would pay for it. I would not pay more than 30. I would not. Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. No idea what that is. Don't care. You stop me at any time if I say something and you're like, but wait, I like that one.
Okay.
Samba de Amigo. Wait, hang on. Samba de Amigo. This is the best. That's the most diverse I can. Oh, that sounded better than mine. Party Central is apparently a 1999 Dreamcast rhythm game. I do not remember ever hearing about this game. They're making a new one. Sure, it makes sense if you're shaking some maracas, which I'm not. That's a real thing. I'm not just being an asshole. You got Joy-Cons on the Switch. It makes sense. Cool. Have fun. Have fun playing some maracas. Yeah. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Don't care. Never liked a Kirby game. Moving on. Bayonetta Origins. Not even finishing the title. Moving on. Masters. There is a subtitle. I'm not telling you. Go look it up. Don't care. Master Detective Archives Rain Code. I feel like I just mashed up words I saw on Wikipedia that an AI told me sounded like a cool anime game. I like this. This is fun. Disney Illusion Island. Now I'm going to stop right there, because this one actually looks kind of neat.
It does.
It looks
cool, right?
It looks geared towards kids, but guess what? We're talking about the Switch here. I would buy this game for Grayson.
Yeah.
It's a platformer with your favorite Disney characters, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't look immensely challenging or anything like that, but it looks fun.
It has a pretty unique art style, or I should say different art style, which is nice. You see Mickey Mouse looking exactly the fucking same in everything it appears in. So it's nice that they went for something a little bit new. Seems like the different characters, you can go higher than that. Try it again.
No, good.
They all have their own different little abilities.
That was really good.
And I agree. I just love platformers too, man. Like that's what I started playing games on. So there's just something about that just always speaks to me.
Yeah.
This will be $60 at launch though, so it's never going to happen, but it does look good. I'll give it that. It looks good.
100%. And on top of that, it's out July 28th. Gorsh. So moving on, Gorsh. That was more Scooby-Doo than Goofy. The first time.
Gorsh. No, too high pitched. I'm still in Mickey right now.
All right. Pikmin 4. Now I'm going to pause here only because did you ever play the other ones?
No.
Then never mind, moving on.
No, they always look so stupid to me.
I placed an internal bet in my head that you had at least played one of them.
No.
Even if you didn't like them, I figured you might have. I've never played them. Obviously, people have been buying them because now there's a fourth one.
There's four of them now, which is crazy.
I have not one, not two, not three, but four. 4 stones! What am I going to do with an empty crate? That is the second time in 2 episodes that you guys have allowed me to quote Gary Oldman from that film. I love it.
It's such a good movie. It's so good.
It's so campy and fun. Lilu Dallas Multipass. Anyway, Pikmin 4 is coming out. Cool. It's coming out in July. I really don't give a shit. Here's the one we are going to pause at. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You get to ride a giant lawnmower / weed whacker combo. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. It looks like that.
It really does look like that.
This trailer looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Am I gonna buy Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at the leaked entry price of $70? Derek, for the win? What's the answer? Am I gonna?
Yes. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. You lose.
Yeah. I don't think it was leaked. I think that they confirmed it. I think it's $70.
Oh, did they? It came out initially as a leak.
Sure.
There was
which
a store
is
listing that came.
Yeah. Which is insane for a game that's essentially 2 console generations, but an engine that's you understand what I'm saying here.
100%.
It does look good. I agree. Like I think the name, I know I always say it every time we talk about it, is the fucking best Zelda game name in years. Incredible. The style of it, it looks awesome. This is going to be something I'm going to Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean myself, if doable. I don't know how that Shmemulator runs. I hear conflicting things about it, but I want to play it. But I just it's like a fucking moral thing at this point. If you start, next thing you know, if 3 years from now they're going to be releasing fucking Wii U games for $90 if you pay, like actually spend money on these fucking games that are like 7 years behind. Don't do it. Don't do it. Everybody's going to. This is going to be a huge success. You know it.
Yeah.
But if you're listening, please just look deep within yourself and know that you're the problem if you buy this game at $70. Yeah.
And the problem is most of the people I know that know it's an issue that they're doing this will gladly look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm the problem and I'm still going to do this because I want to play this game.
Yeah, Benson told us we should feel lucky that games aren't $93. Let's not get into that.
What a rant that was. I love you, buddy, but woof, that was a bad argument. Okay. Moving on. Did they give us a release date for this? Yes, they did. It comes out in May, so it's not too far away at this point. Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I'm going past that. Sorry, this is the expansion pass, Volume 3. Again, even bigger nope. Fashion Dreamer. Cool. Tron Identity. I like Tron. We have just so happened to have talked about Tron last week, but this is this is an indie kind of dev approach to a movie license. It's a decision-based adventure. It's like a puzzle platformer. Did you watch the trailer for this one?
Must have missed it. I just realized that I must have accidentally passed right by it. Funky is the only thing that I could. It looks kind of interesting, honestly. Sort of comes across like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. What did you think I was going to say?
No, nothing.
Okay, all right.
I thought you were going to say Disco Elysium.
Which is an incredible game. Don't listen to Chris. If you're listening, that game is immensely good.
I believe you. It's just not my kind of game. I believe you. I respect your opinion on things so much that I'm willing to believe you when you tell me a game that I don't like is good. Without a doubt in my mind and with no, what's the word I'm looking for? Withholdings? Sure, that works. Yeah. I believe you. Anyway, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Nope. Dead Cells, Return to Castlevania. That's kind of cool. There's some Castlevania DLC. That's all I need to tell you, though. That's Dead Space.
Did you play Symphony of the Night?
Yes, I did.
I played it for the first time, like, not even that long ago, not even 2 years ago, and it really is a fucking great game. Incredible.
It still holds up.
Yeah. Big time.
It wasn't 2 years ago. Got me. I also played through it recently, and it was pretty. Oh, it's probably they released like an HD thing, so we probably got our fingers inside that booty at the same time. Yeah, that's Dragussies, right? Yeah. Deca Police. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Splatoon 3 DLC, Fire Emblem Engage expansion pass, Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, Octopath Traveler 2. I was gonna anyway. That's why I slowed down my my Segui. You love Octopath Traveler. I've never played it.
Listen, I'm not going to harp on this forever because it is an indie game priced for a regular game. This is going to be $60. But I will say this: if you loved the classic JRPGs, if you loved Final Fantasy III, which is really Final Fantasy VI, but let's not get into it, Suikoden, stuff like that, these games are a fucking immensely well done, love letter to that era of gaming, and they're kind of done as like, while retaining the sort of like 16-bit look. They're modernized as much as they can while still kind of keeping that identity. The music is really what's unbelievably good in these games. I fucking can't think of the guy's name, and it's a shame because he's a brilliant composer. Absolutely, it's a masterpiece. Like some of the songs, I'm not kidding, they bring tears to my eyes. They're so good. Like great writing, but it's turn-based JRPG stuff. So some people, that's just an automatic bar. I get it. But if you played that shit when you were a kid and you somehow missed this, which would surprise me, go out and buy the first one. I'm sure that one will go on sale once this one releases. I'm finally getting through. I call it the Curse of Octopath, and that's that it's an incredible game. And every time I try to play it, like a new game comes out that I've been looking forward to for a while.
A new game.
And Ron's showing me her butt. She's trying to throw me off again. And it's working. See, I'm umming. I'm in an trap now. And I end up just like focusing on that game. And then it's been weeks and I'm like, what was I even doing in Octopath? And then I'll start it over. And then same thing. Another game comes out. This is my third attempt. I've put like 30 hours into this game. I'm almost done. I'm loving it. And this one looks really good. It looks like they added some, again, they spruced up the graphics, like the sort of, or art direction even more, as much as they could, staying true to classic 16-bit gaming. Music sounds incredible. The voice acting is incredible. They got a whole new cast of characters, all the same classes, so you should be somewhat familiar with the gameplay if you're coming from the first one going to the second one. I cannot fucking wait for this game. I can't wait. But I'm not going, I'm buying it through Steam. I'm not going to buy it on the Switch. That's stupid. I wouldn't do that.
Fuck that. I'm happy for you. Whenever someone gets something that they really, really love, very happy for you. And I mean that sincerely. And moving on. Ready. We're going to, pace is going to start picking back up again here. We love Katamari, Reroll, and Royal Reverie. Next, Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection. That's more words that sound like they were mashed together by an AI chatbot. Sea of Stars.
Stop.
Okay.
This is another throwback one. This is more like this is a direct.
It looks a lot like Octopath.
Yeah, it's a direct. It's inspired by Chrono Trigger, which is like one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. And they actually got the composer from that game that came out in, I think, 94 to do this game, which is pretty insane.
That's pretty crazy.
And the demo's available now, unfortunately, only on Switch. I did play it on Switch, and it was great. The music is immense. It's very good. But again, it's turn-based RPG. Some people just can't get over that hump. But holy shit, if you liked Chrono Trigger and you somehow missed this, I have a buddy who's like more of a Chrono Trigger fanatic than I am. And I told him about this, which has been sort of like being hyped up for, like 2 years now. And he had somehow gone without knowing about it. So if I can clue anyone else in on this, then it would be my honor. Load up your shitty Switch that you haven't used in a year, download this demo and play it. It was really good. Very, very well done.
This is the type of game the Switch is made for, not graphically intense.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Things that look like they should have been released on the SNES is what the Switch is really good at. Yeah. All right. Omega Strikers, Nintendo Switch Online gets Game Boy. Okay, it's cool if you pay for Nintendo Online. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. That is all one.
Too much.
One title. I made the mistake of click and play on this one. And yeah, no, thank you. A little bit of an Animal Crossing vibe. Don't tell Ron because the rest of it looks like garbage. I know Ron will be obsessed. This is another one. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. Sure. It's like a visual novel. I don't know what the fuck that is. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Passway 4. They're still, say it with me, making content for Mario Kart 8 in 2023. They're still making
when did that
paid
come out?
Content. It came out on
really
the Wii
long
U.
time ago, right? Yeah,
they remade Mario Kart 8 for the Switch.
That's absurd. I was gonna say I thought I played that with my roommates.
2014.
Jesus.
It's almost 10 years old, and they're still milking you motherfuckers for money, and you're still doing it.
And you're still just divvying it out. That's why they keep doing it.
Moving on, Bait and I swear to God, this is baiting. It's gotta be. Baiting Kaitos 1 and 2 HD. I don't know who Kaitos is, but he's probably feeling pretty good right now. It's an HD remaster. I don't know what the fuck that is. Moving on. That's it. That's the end. I found the end. We're done.
Thank
Finally.
goodness.
Woo! Put a bow on it. All right. We're moving into trailers. Like I said, we only have one main topic, and it's just an episodic update for Last of Us. That's not going to take too long. A lot of our bread and butter will be around these trailers, but still, this is probably going to be a pretty short sode, if I do say so myself, because you can't fill a ton of time talking about a trailer, except for this trailer. This is the 55-minute mark, so I'll tell people later on to skip to the 55-minute mark.
Right.
Talk about the trailer for The Flash. Now, look, you previously watched Flashpoint Paradox, which I forgot because I'm an old man brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I after you said that, I do remember you talking about it and having a couple gripes here and there, but overall enjoying it. I remember talking about it.
Can I say something to you?
Hit me.
You have great hair. I don't know if I've ever told you that. You have really great hair. You have a good, strong hairline. It's very, it's like coarse. It looks healthy. I love the color. I'm not doing a bit. I really just was like, man, he has great hair. That's something I envy in other men. Like, I'm not like, oh, I wish I had a 6-pack. Like, that guy has a great jawline, but hair, I get jealous over. And you have great hair. Like,
not thinning.
No, that's what I'm saying. Extraordinary.
Oh yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah, dude.
Maybe it's Maybelline. I'm not laughing at when I was singing. I'm laughing because when I went to sing, I looked over at you and you were unironically going, "Yeah, dude." like a smirk on your face.
Yeah, you got that Hugh Grant hair, baby. Look at that shit. Man. Hugh Grant hairline. People pay money for that. Elon Musk, millions of dollars to regain his hairline. All natch for you, baby. I'm sorry. Please continue what you're saying.
I'll take his money and go bald any day of the fucking week. All right, so you previously.
I want to make sure you know I'm being sincere. Like, that wasn't wouldn't it be funny if I did this? I really just was like, man, he has great hair. I don't know if I've ever told him that, and I want to tell you, before I forget. It happens. I got to get the compliments out before I start feeling mean again. Sometimes I get a little slutty, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel a little ravenous, I feel a little naughty. All right, now I'm going to do that again. It's the 57-30-minute mark. Hang on, let's see. 1 Mississippi. 2 is... Imagine going in and being like, all right, skipping to the Flash trailer. What the fuck are they talking about? I'm just going to say the 58-minute mark. So you've previously seen Flashpoint Paradox and for the most part liked it. And that's why, look, we all know how I feel about DC properties. I talk them up all the time in their animated form and a decent amount of the movies. And I'll talk about the stuff in this trailer that excited me, and I will not hold back if my body decides to produce tears, but I'm really interested to know how you like this trailer. Things you like, things you didn't like.
Oh, I mean, it looked incredible. It looks great. I guess that this is sort of like the final nail in what Snyder built and the introduction of the new DC. Like, I'm assuming, right? Like, that's the assumption people have. That's kind of like.
So Gunn has announced on Twitter specifically that this is basically the sloppy reset. This is how some characters might stick around, but some characters might be replaced or not appear any longer. This is the soft reboot for the DC universe. They've talked previously about as long as they've even gone so far as to say, as long as Ezra is sincere and continues working on his mental health recovery, their mental health recovery. I really am trying to be better at that. I listened back to one of our podcasts about him before, and I was trying to say they, and I said he constantly. So I really do apologize. I'm trying. As long as they stay sincere with their recovery, there's even a door open to talk about them staying around as the Flash. So it's really like this gives them a get out of jail free card. to kind of do whatever they want with the future of DC. So yes.
Yeah, so it's like there's something bittersweet about that because we're going to see where like the direction that the sort of, you know, singular DC universe is going to go. But like after I rewatched this trailer today, I rewatched some scenes from like the Snyderverse, and it was like, you know, just felt like saying goodbye to an old friend. You know, it was a little really though. That is, I mean, it you know. Anyway, this was a great trailer, and it's a great trailer because it showed off action sequences, but it didn't seem like it showed anything that was like the final blow that kills Emperor Zod. It was just like fun parts, fun little shots, some fan service in there, of course. But when you bring back Keaton after fucking 40 years, of course, there's going to be a little bit of fan service. Yeah. It's been a little over 30, not 40. That was hyperbole. Sorry, everybody. So the story, the basis of the story is here, but no major beats were really revealed.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got to see the Keats. Can't beat the Keats. Very exciting.
Keats.
His "I'm Batman" line was, of course, perfect. I thought on my initial watch that the Bat Cycle that they show was Bale's Batman.
You and half the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it, but I assumed like, and then I guess people actually zoomed in on it, and it's Keaton on the bike. So
no, it's Fleck.
Oh, it's Batfleck. Really?
It's a Fleck.
Oh, he's flecking. He's flecking with us.
And I know this also because early on in production there were leaked production shots of Bat Cycle riding, like where they did the stunts.
Oh, okay.
And it was Affleck's suit.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that's probably going to be like an opener action bit.
Yeah. Ben Affleck is hella hot, dude. Oh my God. I would love him to press his body against mine. He is
infinitely fuckable.
He just looks better every year.
He does.
Did you see the Big Game ad, the Dunkin' Donuts thing?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh, we thought it was cute. But anyway, no, it looks great. And I you know what? I feel like you have more to say about this than I do. You know more about like the back, like everything that goes into it than I do. I will tell you this, and I wanted to share this on the pod. I was going to text it to you this morning, but I was like, you know what? This is a better story for the pod. This is how much I talked to Veronica about you.
Okay.
I feel like most of what Veronica knows about you, since you guys don't talk too much, right? She knows through me. We watched this trailer during the Super Bowl, and she stopped and she went, "Oh, honey, I bet Chris is over the moon right now." Just from the amount of Batman that was in it. I was like, oh, yeah, he's probably losing his mind right now.
Oh, yeah.
So
guess what, Ronaldo? You're fucking right, I am.
There was something I wanted to touch on. I didn't know they were doing the whole two berries thing. Like, we're getting not only one Ezra Miller, we got two of them. Supergirl looked incredible. She looked kind of scary a little bit in that straitjacket scene.
Yeah.
I need you to like give me context for this stuff. Obviously, you don't know what direction they're going to go in, but I'm assuming you have more sort of like supporting info on what's going on here than I do.
I feel like I have a pretty solid idea, and there's only one variable, and I don't know if you want me to spoil.
Do it. It's fine.
Things from like a toy reveal. Okay, so here's the way it feels like it's going to go. And I have to say, this is adapted from the famous Flashpoint storyline in comics. It was then later turned into an animated movie to great success, despite the animation style.
Before you start, I'm sorry. I had said when Veronica and I rewatched it today, what's the story? A, how did Flash get his powers? And B, he's like, this is the only universe that my mom is still alive in. I can't remember if that's his origin universe and that's why he stays there, or if he like sought that universe out. Like,
he sought it out, which makes it infinitely better because it's like the thing I have so much to say about this. I'm going to fucking miss things, but strap in, boys and girls.
All right.
The nature of DC versus Marvel, we talk about it a lot on this podcast, and DC's always more like gods, modern day myths, and how they deal with human problems. And this is like that issue personified. So the Flash, he's basically Hermes, right? He's a Greek pantheon god. He can run so fast he can stop time or manipulate time. He has these incredible powers. He's, for all intents and purposes, a god amongst men. And what does he want to do with his powers more than anything? He wants to do something selfish. He wants to go back and save his mom. because what does anybody want to do if they realize that they can manipulate time?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'd love to think that I would take the high and mighty path and spend all of my time stopping bad guys, but after years of that, wouldn't I just want to go back and fucking save my dad?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel it already. So from my understanding, this looks like a pretty solid adaptation with some pretty major changes. There's so much that happens in Flashpoint Paradox as a story and as an animated film that I think it's really an impossible story to coalesce into one film, but they did a really interesting job with this. From what it shows me in the trailer, I'm going to tell you basically how I think this plot's going to go, and then we'll see how right I am the closer to the film it gets. It looks like he's going to start off. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be for him discovering he can manipulate time, but him and Ben Affleck are going to discover it. Looks like Ben Affleck's going to help him with a new suit. And he's going to go back to the night his mom was killed and save her. And he's going to be successful in one of those universes. And he's going to go back to modern day and she'll be alive. It looks like he discovers himself in that timeline who does not yet have powers. The side of the house scene where he's like, you have my face, looks like long hair Barry is not Barry Allen because he never went on to become a scientist and go into Star Labs and have that crazy random concoction of lightning and these chemicals to turn into the Flash, which is such a silly origin, but whatever. When he does this, when he goes to this universe, not only does the Barry who lives there not have powers, Barry loses his powers. He seeks out Bruce Wayne. He's trying to find a superhero. He realizes there are no metahumans in this universe. He says that in the trailer. But Batman's here. And he finds Michael Keaton's Batman, who I'm not sure if it's going to actually be the one from the 89 films. Because they never, there was never an expanded universe. They could just say he was the only one in that universe.
Yeah.
And tries to help him get his powers back. In the animated movie, they do that, if you recall. But he straps himself to an electric chair in the middle of a storm and drinks some chemicals and gets roasted by lightning. And if you remember, he almost dies the first time. And then he gets hit a second time and it works and it revitalizes him. And we see a scene of lightning passing through his body and then also hitting the Barry of this universe with the long hair. So it looks like they both get their powers at the same time. Then it looks like it looks like Barry realizes he fucked up because he came to a universe where he's the only metahuman and Zod just showed up. Man of Steel timeline, but there's no Man of Steel. What they find out, I don't know how they find this, and maybe Batman knows it because he's fucking Batman, is that there is a metahuman that the government found and is keeping locked away. So instead of the original origin of Superman landing in a cornfield in Kansas and being raised by loving parents, he is found by the government. I think in the comic, he landed in a city and wiped a city, and they found that's how they found him, and they took him, locked him away, never let him see sunlight. In the animated film, he was this real scrawny, the machinist Christian Bale. Never seen.
Oh, I forgot about that, dude. I better rewatch Flashpoint. It's been long enough that you're saying shit. I'm I don't remember that. I remember really loving it, but it's a lot of this I don't remember. But now that you say that, I do remember.
And it looks like they're swapping that to do Supergirl as opposed to Superman. So Sasha Calle's playing Supergirl, who I was unsure of when she was cast, and I thought she was great in this trailer.
Yeah, she was. I agree.
It looks like they recruit her to help them out, and it looks like it's Keaton's Batman, both of the Flashes, and Supergirl against Zod to repel the invasion. The only piece to this puzzle that I don't know for sure is that towards the end there are two Flashes, and one of them there's a shot towards the end of the trailer. There's Zod's ship, and there's two Flashes with lightning coming out both sides. One side's the blue lightning, one side's yellow. There's our Barry, who's yellow, and I think Barry, who gets powers in this timeline, becomes evil.
Right.
I think he ultimately ends up spawning his arch nemesis, Reverse Flash, or Negative Flash. If it depends on what moniker they want to go with. He's basically just a Barry who through the timeline, like becomes evil. And I think that's going to factor in somehow. I don't know how.
I did when in the part in the trailer where he first catches up to Longhair Barry and he's like predominantly wearing yellow. I went like, doesn't Reverse Flash wear all yellow?
Yeah. I think he's going to be in a black and yellow suit or something. I don't think it's going to be like all yellow with red like Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Because again, there were some toy leaks, and I think they're calling him Negative Flash. It doesn't really matter because the onus is that it's a version of him. And in some versions, he turns evil because of what R. Barry did. Like, he sees what he's capable of and realizes that he can literally destroy universes and wants to do nothing but stop himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we're too powerful. We can't do this. So Negative Barry is not necessarily evil so much as he is,
like
you can't be allowed to do this. Yeah. And I got to tell you, it's at the end of these big operatic, like mythological stories, there's always a real human element to the best DC stories. And at the end of the day, just wanting to live in a world where your mom's alive is a pretty cool onus for that. I've talked about this before, but the end of the season 1 of the Flash TV show is some of the best superhero like television to me, because the scene where he has to like make the hero choice to like let his mom die because he knows that's the only way that he becomes the Flash and can save so many other people. They sell it so well, and it's fucking beautiful. And I hope that
okay, so that's what it is. I'm sorry. So in our Barry's universe, his mom dies when he's a kid. He becomes the Flash, and he goes to this one.
That's
where
why
his
dad is locked up.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I got you.
His dad is actually framed for the murder, and there's no evidence because I think in some cases it was like Reverse Flash who killed her.
Right.
It's all this timey-wimey, fucky-wucky stuff, but so. Couple things. There's a couple cool scenes towards the beginning where he runs up to his old house, and immediately his eyes are glossy. Like, you can see this is like his first time going back, and he's emotional, and it's beautiful. We've always talked about how we think Ezra's a good actor. It's been hard to say that recently. Yeah. Because they're kind of an asshole. Well, hopefully they're getting better, but they've done a lot of asshole shit. But the scene where he really earnestly says to Keaton, like, because this is the only one where my mom's alive, is really well delivered.
It is.
I'm stoked about this. We talked about all that, but like, Keaton's back. He looks awesome. I had an analogy for this that I think I might have put in chat. It's not exactly one for one, but at least in my mind as a Batman fan, it holds
You
pretty
might
true.
have a kid behind you. No, that's a
cat.
kitty. Okay.
Oh.
I just didn't want you to say the fuck word.
It's a kid, E. I see what you're saying. That is a cat, and she would have ran if he was right there. So,
okay.
I think I've made this comparison before, but when Rogue One came out and we saw the Vader scene at the end, it was this like nostalgia fueled, cathartic like boner, because in your mind, when you watch Star Wars as a kid, Vader's a badass. Vader's doing a bunch of cool shit. Vader's, swinging his lightsaber and being the worst guy in the universe. But when you rewatch the original trilogy, he doesn't do a whole lot.
No.
He's kind of
stiff. But
the reappearance in Rogue One satisfies the way we remember him.
Yeah.
So it's this infinite fantasy fulfillment. I think that Keaton coming back here is going to do the same thing for Batman fans. Yeah. Because if you go back and watch the original Batman film, he didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's got fight scenes, but they're very stiff. There's no CGI, so he's stuck in that rubber suit, baby, and he can't do a whole lot. They're very stiff fight scenes. Just in this little brief teaser, we see him do some cool stuff, like see him taking out a room full of bad guys.
Yeah.
And the bat plane, the Batwing is back, which is this iconic ship.
That's what I was going to say. It's just, there's just something really cool about seeing that version of Batman do like modern day superhero action shit. Like there's one part where he like swoops down and he's like fucking, it's just really cool to see. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like the kind of shit you would dream about. Like wouldn't it be fucking crazy if Keaton came back for a modern day Batman? And it's like, now it's happening.
Yeah, it's I would be lying if I said that I didn't tear up when I saw him. Not full blown cry, but like I didn't. We're watching the Super Bowl and I see the trailer pop up and I'm like, "Hun, pause it. I'm putting on YouTube. We're watching the trailer. Like I don't care what else." We turn it on and I didn't. His appearance starts off with him walking into frame from behind it. It's the shot we saw in the first teaser, and I was worried they wouldn't show him, even though this was, you know what I mean. And then it flips around and he says, "I'm Batman," and seeing like the cape like flaps around and it feels really iconic. And on top of all that, they're reusing Elfman's score again, which is just such a good, such a good song. And he walked up and he was like, "Yeah, I'm Batman." And there's like Keaton's talked about loving playing Batman before. In interviews. He loves to say, "I'm Batman." Iconic line from the first '89 film. And you can tell he's having a good time. And that's what makes it so good for me. Cause he's like, "I'm Batman." He said it's so juice. I can't even, I'm very excited. Obviously I just rambled for a very long time.
It's okay, baby. I love your ramblings.
That's all I got.
Ramble all over me.
Else. Is that what it's called nowadays? Is that what the kids are calling it?
Oh, I'm going to ramble. Here comes my ramblings.
We don't know what's going to happen after this. I think some of what happens after this is going to have to do with critical reception to this film and financial reception to this film. How popular certain characters were. I'm very excited for this film. Gunn has come out and said it's one of his favorite superhero films, which is a crazy praise from someone who's been in the industry and done the stuff he said. Now, of course, he just took over the slate, so it would behoove him to say stuff like that. But I just have this feeling like there's a tinge of truth in there, and it's bolstered by the fact, word of the week, by the way, bolster, by the fact that we've seen these test audiences go bonkers for it, and there's been a lot of word on the street that this movie is really well done. And I got to be honest, I think the reason is just simply because the story, the comic it comes from, is a really well told comic story. And I think as long as you stay true to that, or at least stay true to the through line and the message from that, which it looks like they are, even if they're swapping out pieces here and there, then I think you're going to have a successful superhero movie.
How big of an undertaking is the Flashpoint comic?
I've never read the comic. I've seen panels from the comic. One of my favorite comic panels of all time, actually, is Barry giving his Batman a letter from his dad. It's a really beautiful. You can look it up. It ends with, the panel is just, he opens it up. He says, "What's this?" And he's like, "You know what it is." And it says, "Dear Bruce." And the next panel is just like a tear from, I can't talk about it.
Like from Thomas, from that timeline, he brings it back to Bruce.
He wrote a letter and said,
"Does that happen in Flashpoint, the movie?"
Yeah.
Okay. See, I got to watch it again. It's been like 2 years. I'm pretty sure Scott was still on the show when we covered that.
Yeah,
so
I actually think it was.
Dates it.
If I was gonna say, if you want to, we can do it for next week. We can do it again. I don't mind doing it again.
Fuck it. Well,
Okay.
when does this come out? Is there a
Yeah, this is June.
June. Yeah, so that's
June
appropriate
16th.
then. Yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
4 months, almost exactly 4 months from now, which is very exciting. The other thing I would mention, the last thing I would mention, Flashpoint has a lot more going on, obviously, because they want to show you all the cool things that are changed in this universe. One of the big ones is Aquaman and Wonder Woman are a part of it. And the whole backstory, the whole kind of like backdrop, I should say, to what's happening in this altered timeline is Themyscira and the Atlanteans are at war with each other. And their war is literally destroying the world. Like they're pretty sure that, like, we're afraid of nuclear war. They're basically saying like this is going to get to the point where they destroy the planet. And that looks like all that stuff's probably cut because that's would be crazy. That's the kind of thing that makes this a series of movies as opposed to one film. There were rumors that Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa had cameos in this. It's up in the air. I've heard rumors that they were cut. I've heard rumors that they were still there. We'll see. I can't, who knows? They could be changing this to the last day, but that was a lot to talk about one trailer. So let's move on. We'll skip, scap, skirp through the rest of these. I don't know what that means. Skip, scap, skedaddle. Well, I will start by saying, did you know that they're making a History of the World Part 2?
Not until I sat down at my computer desk an hour ago.
Before you say anything, I thought this trailer was funny.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Okay, thank you. Woo! Sometimes I love
the first one.
Okay. This is like it's a 4-night event starting March 6th on Hulu.
Oh, it's like a mini series.
Yeah.
Okay.
And God bless Mel Brooks. That man is still kicking.
I thought he was dead. I thought he died like 10 years ago. I was like, who's writing it? And then it was like from legendary writer Mel Brooks, and shows him and he's talking. I was like, holy shit. I had some phantom memory of like hearing about him dying in like the early 2010s. I'm happy you're still with us, Mel.
I would make the episode title Rip Mel Brooks, but I don't want it to come true. Yeah, so this I saw this and my eyes rolled into the back of my head, because your initial reaction is there's no way that they can make a sequel to this cult classic at this point.
Yeah.
And have it be good. They have literally every funny person I've ever seen in my life in this trailer. Yeah. And some of these bits are so, it's like my kind of humor. They're stupid jokes, but they're delivered earnestly, and that makes them really funny.
Yeah.
The Alexander Bell thing
was really good.
Stands out. It's like obvious. I don't want to sit here and try to retell jokes in a trailer. Go watch it. But it's basically this is your mom calling joke. And he goes, this isn't my mother. What's my last name? And they're right around the corner. They go, Bell. And he goes, oh yeah, it's my mom. It's definitely her. It's a very funny trailer, and it feels 100% like a Mel Brooks production, and cool. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I actually kind of can't wait for it. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, same. I haven't seen the first one since I was a kid, but I loved it. I was obsessed with it. So
yeah,
I'm hard.
It looks very cool.
I'm hard right now.
March 6th on Hulu. Moving on.
Shit, nice.
Yeah, it's soon too. Less than a month, baby. Did you watch this 9 minutes?
I did prior to today. I did when it launched, when it dropped.
Obviously, it's a gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into crazy depth about what we saw. It just looks bigger in every way from the first one.
Yeah.
And especially with lightsaber combat, it looks like he's flowing through the different style. I saw him middle of a combo. He's doing the double. I'm doing double sabers. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Combat looks better. It looks like the traversal is changed a little bit from Metroidvania type exploration, where it's more linear, but there's, a bunch of things you have to backtrack to open, to maybe more open world hubs. And there's some mounts. It looks like he's riding creatures at some point.
Yeah.
We have not much of a concept on what the storyline is going to be just yet, but I can't wait for this game.
Me neither.
Fallen Order is phenomenal.
I was hoping that they were going to, I think in one, like the dual sabers thing was just like a special attack. You did, like you couldn't actually, it wasn't like a fighting style.
It was like one big, like it was a special move you would decouple and strike, but and
then put it back together afterwards. Yeah. So the fact that that's an actual style in this, super
it's
exciting
enough.
Yeah, right. I always end up going back to just single saber though, baby. It's just the classic.
Oh yeah.
It's just,
I gotta say, there's something very juice about the single saber combat.
Yeah.
That sure, I can understand that 100%.
Like single saber on single saber. I mean, it's just like, dick to dick.
Shing,
you know what I'm saying?
Tip to tip. What do you got?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks really incredible.
You want to send me a saber pic later? I want to see what your hilt looks like. Episode title? What's your hilt look like?
I'm into it, baby. It's
a contender. Hilt Pics.
Oh no, that one's good. I feel like that's it. Yeah,
I like Hilt Pics. Okay. Yeah, this looks really good. I don't know how they're bringing the battle droids back into the fray here, but I always kind of liked the idea, and it's never been said out loud, but I always like the idea that, like, in my headcanon, there's like warehouses full of these things that never got used, and people just grab them and start selling them to mercenaries because why would you not? And it almost kind of feels like that might be what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't look like they're not going to be used by the Empire. So I don't know what faction they're fighting for, but it looks pretty cool. This just looks like more of the same, and it looks awesome. It also reminded me that I have to go spend $150 on the BD1 Lego that I never bought because he's adorable and I love him. That's it. I don't have anything else.
He's Chief Beef. I love that BD.
BDs. That's pretty good too, but I'm not making that the episode title. I still like Hilt Pics. All right, moving on. Derek, did you know? Because I sure as hell didn't. And this is completely out of our normal wheelhouse, but I'm doing it anyway because I liked the trailer a lot. That Nike was trying to make a shoe, and they decided to do something that no one has ever done, and they contracted with a rookie who was pretty popular at the time, but he was a rookie. Rookies don't get shoes usually. That rookie's name was Michael Jordan. And this is a movie about the Air Jordan, which I get it, is exorbitantly priced. If it's not still, it was made by kids in sweatshops for decades. It's not a good look, but there's something romantic about the story, to me at least.
Yeah.
This movie, did you ever see Moneyball?
No, that's been on my list for a long time.
Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill. I love that movie.
I think it's very good.
I love those like behind the scenes. How did this thing happen? And I really like Damon and Affleck together. I know they became a meme for a while.
Do you ever feel like they're such close friends that one just has to ask the other, like, hey man, I'm doing this movie. Do you think you can star in it with me because it'll boost up the numbers? Like, all right, sure.
Do you feel like at some point one of them forgot to ask the other and the other one was mad about it for a while? Like, you're not invited to the Memorial Day barbecue this year, Affleck.
How was Batman versus Superman, asshole?
Was Damon in Fargo? I don't think he was. That was the trade-off. He was mad at him.
Yeah.
Excluded him. He might have been. I don't remember. I looked this up because my initial thought after watching this trailer was, is this real? Like, did they really bet on a rookie? Because that feels insanely irresponsible as a company. I looked it up and they absolutely did. Not only did they do that, and I have some fun facts right here about this, they gave him a contract. And this was basically, if you perform this well, we'll give you the real contract. This is what this was. So they started him off. They gave him a contract. They made a shoe called the Air Jordan. They gave him these conditions. They said, you have to either win Rookie of the Year, first year in the NBA. This is like when he's about to be drafted by the Bulls. You have to win Rookie of the Year, or average 20 points a game, or become an all-star, or sell $4 million worth of shoes in a year. And he satisfies any of those by itself. He gets the big boy contract that's probably going to set him up for life if he did nothing else but sell shoes. Not only did he satisfy one of those conditions, he satisfied all four of them. His first, most people know this, but he won Rookie of the Year. This man averaged almost 30 points a game. That's crazy. Averaged 28.2 points a game. He was an all-star. Not only did he sell $4 million worth of shoes, he sold $100 million worth of shoes in his rookie year as a starter on the Bulls. I don't know why I'm interested in this, but I am. And I'm looking forward to it. And it comes out April 5th. And what did you think?
It just looks like a well-done period piece, too. I don't know. And Michael Jordan's an interesting guy. I know it's not really... It's more about shit that happened around him than it is like a biopic of his life or something. But no, it looks cool. I guess Viola Davis I guess that's his mom. Yeah. She's incredible, of course, always in literally everything.
Jason Bateman's in this. Obviously, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Viola Davis. Who else we got? It's a pretty stacked cast. I'm not sure who's playing his father, unfortunately. And they don't show. Oh, Marlon Wayans is in it. I don't know if I would consider him in the stacked cast list, but he's in here. Sorry, Marlon Wayans. Haven't seen you do much lately, but I love you. I think you're cool. Fun tidbit. Did you know that before they told Burton to F off and they went with Kilmer and did Batman Forever, Burton was writing a third film and was going to have Marlon Wayans play Robin?
I did not know that.
I'm not making this up.
I believe you.
Yes.
I believe you. You could say something now and make it up and I'll believe it. Say anything. Say any fact, and I'm going to believe it. And I'm going to tell someone else at work tomorrow. I heard this crazy thing yesterday.
My dick's 8 inches.
Chris's dick is 8 inches. Make sure you tell other people.
A coworker that. All right, a couple. Actually, let's do one more. We have one more actual like full length, and the rest are these quick Super Bowl clips, and then we're basically donezo. Yeah. Besides Last of Us, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had another full length trailer come out, which feels soon. I feel like the other full length one just came out. All different footage here. They're really, really pushing the last adventure for these guys. And I got to tell you, it's one of the only ways to make me interested in some of these characters after all this time together is the idea that something is going to be finite and actually end. And people might die. They might not die, but they might go their separate ways and have respectable, happy endings. Some might not be that happy. But the idea that change will actually be happening. We know this is Gunn's last Marvel film. Whether or not they decide to make more, Bautista said he's done as Drax. He's publicly said he's not playing it anymore after this.
Wait, because Gunn's not involved, or he's just done?
No, he's just moving on from superhero films, which is fine. He's a good actor. Yeah. He should. He's been able to do some cool projects alongside being Drax. The trailer worked for me. I thought it was fun. I liked the first one. I thought this one was a good one too.
You know, I'm not interested in the story of these, and I'm kind of tired of the characters, like you said. But James Gunn undeniably has like just this visual feast to his like actual like feature length films. Like they just look so fucking cool. Like the color palettes, the shots. I got a similar feel to this that I did to what was Snyder's zombie film? Was it called Army of the Dead? Is that what it was called?
Dawn of the Dead?
Was it Dawn of the? No, the one he just did like a few years ago.
Oh, Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Yeah. Like watching the trailer, I'm like, this is ridiculous, but it looks really fun. Like that's how I felt about this. Like, I don't care. Like you said, it seems like something horrible happens. There's a bunch of dramatic scream while slowly raising your head towards the ceiling shots.
Yeah.
I don't care, but it looks pretty and it looks fun. And it looks well produced, and I it's impossible for me to not appreciate a well put together movie. Like even at this point, as much shit as we talk on Nolan, we always come back around to saying like, but his movies look great. They're edited well. They're shot well. They're lit well. The whole nine. There's just all that stuff counts too. Like the writing is of course a huge part of it, but like the people who show up and put the work in, and the guy who's ordering those people around. I mean that counts for something. Yeah. And that's just something Gunn is really good at. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm about this trailer. I said I liked it already, but there's some cool stuff in here. There's Adam Warlock is in this. I forget the name of the guy that's playing him. I'm so sorry. I knew it before and I don't know it now. Adam Warlock is in this. They actually teased him at the end credits scene of 2. The Golden People, I forget what they're called, were making him. And Gunn has gone on record to say some interesting things. He's a very powerful being. In fact, I believe he was like either made to fight Thanos or was able to fight Thanos because of his power level. But in this, he's sort of like, he's a new being who's about to just be birthed. So he's like a god who's like a 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. He's got the mind, the malleability, the temperament of a child, of a toddler. I think that's really interesting to play with. And damn if the music in this trailer doesn't just signal this is the end for at least some of these guys. Who knows if people will die or not, but at the very least it's the end of the Guardians, I think. Who knows if they'll drag their corpses up in a couple years to do something else. Nebula looks like she's got a cool new arm that looks like the Sentinels from Days of Future Past. They can just do whatever they want. Like at one point it looks like it's just like a blade,
right? Oh, right. Cool. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
They have really cool color coordinated spacesuits. Yeah. That I liked a lot in that one shot.
It's the live action Among Us movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to tell you, I know that in the holiday special, you weren't too over the top entertained by the Mantis Star-Lord, we're kind of siblings conversation. Mm-hmm. I think it'll play out well here. There's a lot of scenes of them dirty and screaming and sad looking, and I want to see shit go down. These characters, you know what it is? It's the dichotomy I'm looking forward to. These characters are so happy and silly and goofy all the time. I want to see what happens when like real loss happens. And I hope that that's achieved in some manner. I'm not saying I want specifically any of these characters to die, but they all need to face something either as a team or separately. And yeah, cool. This movie comes out on May 5th. There's a lot of stuff coming out soon.
Yeah, it's a lot of
I don't know if
coming. There's a lot of coming, getting, you know?
Comings out soons. Okay. Last of the full-length trailers. Scream 6 had another big game spot. Not a lot of new footage in here, but some cool stuff. Definitely.
It looks cool. It does. It looks like a good... I think what this does well, it looks like what 5 did well, is that it like... It keeps the original, the sort of like classic air while like doing it in a new way, which is kind of contradictory, but that's kind of what 5 did. And it looks like that's what, you know, these new trailers are indicating. I'm actually kind of excited for this, which is weird. 5 surprised the shit out of me. I was like, I walked into that like, oh, I'm ready to fucking dunk on this stupid ass movie. And I ended up really liking it. So I anticipate I'll probably like this one too.
It looks pretty cool. I agree. We both liked the last trailer a decent amount. There's a scene here where it stretches my believability in the premise a little bit, only because it's New York City. And this could not be in New York City proper. It could be in Queens or something where it's a little less people, not that many less people. But there's a thing where they're using a ladder to go from window to window to get away from them. And they're in the open air, like in an alley, screaming, crying, and no one's around.
Hey, shut the fuck up. That's the reality.
Yeah, at the very least, it should be one of those where they're ironically saying shut up when someone's actually in danger. Because it's like a busy apartment building, whatever.
Yeah.
I can suspend my disbelief because I watch superhero films and I've practiced at it. I'm good at it.
I can do it.
I just gush for 20 minutes about a guy running back through time and saving his mom. So, you know, we out here, boys.
What's your shirt say?
This is
support your local raccoon.
Support your local something.
Street cats.
Street cats.
Oh, very nice. Did you really not know what your shirt said?
I forgot what it said at the bottom.
Why does that make me respect you more? What's your shirt say? I don't know. You tell me. You're looking. I got to look down. You're looking right at it.
I'm by so many. I'm so rich. I can't remember what to say. All right. Next spot is a Creed 3. Just a big.
All that money you saved on hair plugs. You really could get the gimmicky t-shirts.
There you go. That's the secret. Don't lose your hair, baby. You'll be rich. We saw a full-length trailer for Creed. This comes out really soon. This is again. So much shit. This comes out 3/3. This comes out less than a month.
Tree.
We discussed about Creed 3 previously. That first and foremost, Jonathan Majors looks like a fucking monster.
He's a truck. Yeah.
Holy
ridiculous.
shit. Talk about just like your ability to focus and commit to a role. Like that's crazy determination to get that ripped. I mean, who knows? I never saw him with his shirt off before this. Maybe he was already in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But he is like a brick shit house. And I love I talked about this last time, not gonna harp on it. Love a good boxing movie.
Yeah.
I never caught 2. Always heard 1 was better. I did like 1 a lot. So I'm going to catch up. I'm going to watch 2 before this comes out.
I never watched any of the Rocky movies. It's another one that's just been on the list, man.
You don't even really need to.
I feel like I've heard that. Like it's like a legacy film. It's, it's its own thing.
Who characters in the Rocky films are.
Yeah.
Like, who Apollo Creed is.
Yeah.
And know who Adrian the trainer is.
I know how all those movies go. Like they've been referenced so much that I know the storyline of, the ones people liked anyway. I'm sure there's a couple that.
Sorry, I said Adrian the trainer. Adrian's not the trainer, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
If you know the major people, it's kind of all you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely 100% recommend Creed 1. I don't know about Creed 2 yet. I heard it was okay. I just heard it just wasn't like as good. And this looks cool. It looks like there's stakes. I like that his nemesis in this instance is someone he knew in his childhood that maybe took a wrong turn in life and is now coming back.
It's a cool setup. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of emotional stakes there. a lot of the imposter syndrome of like at this point in his career, he's been on the top for a while, and now he's probably feeling like everyone has a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
I'd imagine maybe a little less if you're literally at the top of beating other men
Yeah.
into
Punching them in their
submission
chest until they give up.
yeah, or head until they fall asleep. You know what I mean? Time to put Grace in the bed.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You never hit my son. Love that little asshole.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Unless he really pisses you off, right? Then it's okay, right? I mean, when else would you?
I never ever hit my son unless he upsets me, and then I beat him.
Unless I've been drinking or something, and he really does something like knocks
and I
over
drink
my beer
every day,
or something.
So you figure out the rest. No, I do not. Full disclaimer: I love my son to death. This morning, I was getting ready. This is a quick tidbit before the last big game spot. That's called "Old Men Doing Old Men Things in Old Movies." TM. I was getting ready to leave, and I was like, "Come here, give me a hug, bud." He gave me a hug. He's been doing this thing where no matter where in the house I hug him goodbye, he'll still follow me to the door. And then I open the door, and he runs to give me one last hug with the open door. It's really endearing. I don't think he realizes. Yeah. Adorable. It's Italian. And this morning, I hugged him. I was like, all right, buddy, bye. And he went, Daddy, real quiet. And I was like, it's like, 7 a.m. I'm like, yeah, buddy, what's up? And he goes, I love you. My fucking heart just melted in two. And then he came home tonight and he was throwing stuff across the living room.
Yeah.
And,
You're like, damn, that's over. All that appreciation gone. Just
the dichotomy of being a parent. Last spot is Indiana Jones and the Dial of D's Nuts. I don't know, dude. I'm still in the same place I was with this last trailer where I kind of like what I'm seeing. And that's scary to me because Indiana Jones jumped the shark, as people like to say, with Crystal Skull. I love Mads Mikkelsen.
He's great. It's great to look at.
There's a period of time in my life where I loved Harrison Ford. I don't consider myself loving him anymore, but like I loved him when he was Indiana Jones.
I feel like we appreciate men on this more than we do women.
Yes.
Like, I feel like we don't want to come across as misogynistic, so we're just like, oh, Amy Adams, she's beautiful. And we just like leave it at that. But when it's like Henry Cavill, like, I wish he'd come on me, I wish he'd come in his hand and smack my back with it.
And high five me with it. And that's actually kind of oxymoronical because it makes us seem shallow about the women.
Right.
What we're really saying is we should talk about women's bodies more.
Yeah,
it makes sound more.
We should say weird
equal.
stuff about them. Yeah.
Yeah. Every week we're talking about the next gray-haired fellow coming to our glory hole. I mean, shit. What do we? Never mind. I'm not going to do that. But I like this. I think it looks fun. I don't know. I do. I can't help it. I'm sorry. What do you think?
No, I agree. And I got it. I think this is like so many of the things we're talking about. I'm like, oh, I haven't watched this one. I haven't watched that one. I think this is the one when this trailer came on, Veronica turned to me. She's like, we got to watch these. Like, we got to do this. So I'm going to be pulling the trigger on that.
Has she not seen them?
No, she's seen them. She loves them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of them?
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if I trust people that like Temple of Doom. I gotta be honest with you.
No. Oh, she doesn't like that. She saw all of them, but no.
Okay.
Oh no, I thought you meant Crystal Skull. Yeah, that one she talked shit on, but
that's poo poo.
She kind of did the same. She's like, we should watch all 3 of them. But I want to watch the 4. I don't care if it's bad. I want to know. I want to be like, I want to know what you guys know.
Shia LaBeouf is in it. You gotta watch Shia LaBeouf. He only became tolerable after a certain point to me, though. Like his early career stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah,
like,
I got you. Yeah.
He just does the scream. Ah! That was his whole like acting profile.
Should have been a warning sign. That should have been a warning bell to scream, stay away from me. I'm bad. Have you seen him in Fury? Holy shit, that's a great movie. I think I've asked
dude,
that before.
That's another one I've never seen. I'm slacking, brother.
I'm making you a Captain America things to catch up on list right now that you're going to work on. Okay, that was the last of the big game spots. That one comes out June 30th. A ton of shit in the first 6 months of 2023. Mm-hmm. We're going to really quickly talk about Last of Us Episode 5, and then we're done.
Donezo.
We're leaving. Episode 5 shows the culmination of the fight in Kansas City. We show the unfortunate culmination of Henry and Sam's storyline. There was some big divergences from the game as far as the characters, but ultimately, and the same thing they've managed to do most of the season, the essence, the reason for those characters, the gist of those characters is preserved. Certainly the end of those characters is preserved as it was in the game, to much disappointment. I was, I have to tell you something. I had an epiphany. Obviously, spoiler. It's at the beginning of the podcast. We spoil everything. I always forget which one is the kid. Is it Sam? Is the little boy?
Sam is the little boy. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. I trust my gut. I should have trusted my gut. And I lost my track of thought. Trust my gut.
Trust your gut, lose your brain. Yeah.
Oh, right. Epiphany. I had an epiphany. We talked about how, the Bill and Frank episode was such a nice change because in the game, it was just such a sad story beat. Like in the game, you just find that Frank had killed himself, and the note left behind was, I rather would have gone out this way than like spend another day with you. Like really harsh. It's heavily implied they had a relationship, but it obviously ended in tragedy. And that's a big theme in the video game. However, I feel like if they had kept that and then had this, it would have been too much. The show would have just been fucking
dreary,
sad porn. And it would have been everybody would be like, why am I watching the show? Because like everyone just dies.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of the reason that they changed Bill and Frank's story is one, to tell a beautiful love story, but also to try and give you something nice about love before they showed you more of the ugly side. Because we've talked about it before, but it's been a through line of the show, which is that love makes people do wonderful things. It also makes people do terrible things. And everybody in this episode, in one way or another, is fueled by love. Catherine is fueled by the love of her brother and the vengeance she feels for that.
She was not in the game, correct? She was like,
no, she did not exist. Yeah. She did not exist. Like I think I said last episode, her existence is more so just implied in the game because the hunters obviously have a leader, but they don't even. There's no backstory besides these are bad guys. I don't have much to say beyond the scene of the clickers scrambling out of that pit was horrifying.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of that was CGI. They actually made a bloater costume.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So what I'm imagining they did is they made a decent number of like actual costumes and then just supplemented that, filled in some of the empty spots with CGI. Obviously the movement of the bloater was done up a bit because he was very limber, and I imagine the person in that suit was not super limber.
Yeah.
Effects were great. The firefights were fun. The way they did like the sneaking up on the sniper in the house and then finding it was an old guy.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool quick cut where Joel's like, don't. And you see the gun. He just starts to turn. They cut the scene. Ellie and Sam bonding was heartbreaking because we all know what happens. And I'm just going to let you take over because I'm just going to tell everybody that I cried profusely when the ending happened, and no shit. Of course, Chris cried.
I wept too, and then I watched it again the next day, and I cried again. I thought that Kathleen or Catherine, I can't remember what you said, was great. I think it was Catherine. like you said, it was. It shows you love can make you do really horrible things. There's like this really heartbreak. At first, she came off as cartoony to me, like I'm the bad guy, and you're all just gonna have to deal with it. And then she has that scene where she goes to the old apartment, and her like second in command comes in, and she's like, "I know you're gonna tell me that he would have told me to forgive them because he already did, and I don't care because I just want to feel better. I want to." And I remember, I don't want to bring too much of my life into it, but like my sister died. And she had a horrible relationship with my my niece's father, and I just had he had nothing to do with her dying. But when she died, I just had this like it just all went to him, and I was just like, I want this guy to feel pain. I want him to suffer like awful things that, of course, I've grown way beyond, and I've gone years at a time without even thinking about him now. So that scene was like took this character that initially I was like, she's coming off as kind of like a video game character in a show, and she wasn't even in the video game. That scene really like applied context to her, and you almost like empathize with her and pity her, even though you know she's a piece of shit. I thought that was a really genius scene. I thought like a couple really cool things happened in this. I think that what I loved about the Henry and Sam chapters of the game were, I don't want to say it's my favorite because obviously it's so fucked up, but I'll say it's the part of the first game that affected me the most. I liked that like Henry is Sam's brother, but he's kind of his de facto dad, and the sort of relation with Joel, of course, not being Ellie's dad, but he is her de facto dad. He's sort of like the closest thing. They're both the closest thing to a dad. I think the best thing that they could have done to like support that idea is make Sam deaf. Like he needs him, and so it's like, it's not just like, well, of course I got to take care of him as my brother. It's like, he will not survive without me. He doesn't even know if someone's sneaking up on him. It just created that bond, and Henry's willingness to do whatever it takes to protect him just more. Not that it was ever unbelievable, but I just feel like it strengthened that. Like sometimes they say, you know, like, oh, if it's not fixed, don't broke it. But I feel like that it was never broken. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You understand what I meant? It was never broken, but like that just really added to it. I think something that was really cool. I feel like Ellie is made out in the game and the show to be, you know, she's something special. Of course, she's immune, and I loved that she did something that she thought was going to cure him. Like, oh, my blood, whatever. She says something like, my blood is the cure, or the cure is in my blood, or something. And of course, it didn't cure him. And it's sort of like said to, well, Ellie as a character and us as the viewer, like, okay, you're special, but you're not that special. Like, I just feel like it, not in a haha fuck her way, but just in a like tragic way. Like it said, like, all right, you have something unique going on with you, but like, you're not some messiah. Like you're not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe this will even play into like her decision later when she like wants to, you know, submits herself to the Fireflies or whatever. But I just thought that was a good addition, because the next day when everything pops off, which was just as bad as it was in the game, maybe even worse. She's just on the ground. Like, I don't know, like I thought I helped him. I thought I could do it. Also, he asked her to stay awake, and she fell asleep, and she's probably going to beat herself up over it. That scene where Henry kills himself was rough. Like it was really, he keeps saying, what did I do? What did I do? Which is just like, oof, now I'm getting all worked up. It's like in his head, he's going like, I did everything right. How did it still go wrong? It's just, oh my God, dude, it was rough. It was so, dude, Pedro Pascal's acting in that scene is so true to the game. Like if you rewatch that scene from the game, Joel is like, he's sort of like putting his head down, like he's like, calm down, like holy shit, yeah. And Pedro does the same thing. He's like, put the gun down, just give me the gun. He's like freaked out. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It was so well done, man. I'm just going to start gushing and fanboying. I think I've made every point I had to make about it. It was incredible, dude.
It was very well done and very, very sad. Yeah, I mean, it had all the beats there. You know, everything connected. You could see Joel. You could see literally like neurons rewiring themselves as he talked to Henry. You know, you could see his emotion forming the protective barrier around Ellie. And like you said, I mean, you brought up even more points than all the ones I was going to, and additional ones about, you know, Ellie kind of looking like, you know, herself, like maybe there is nothing special about me, like, and maybe that will feed into her decision later, like, okay, well, my blood doesn't do it, but like, just take me, like I can be useful, I can be, you know, a detriment, or a boon to this world, not a detriment. No, unless it was opposites day. And I don't know, I mean, it's just such a sad, there's so many emotions on those actors' faces. I also thought Sam being deaf was great, because it shows just how much he relies on his big brother in this world. He's such a sweet kid, and he plays him really well. And the actor who portrays Sam is also deaf in real life. And I watched like the making of the episode, and he's just a little sweetheart. He's a little fucking bro, and I wish him all the best of luck in the industry. He said that the actors around him picked up ASL really quickly to work with him, and I think that's like the sweetest thing.
Yeah,
I know it's like bare minimum entry for being a human being, but like it's really nice that they did that. Yeah, I can't really say anything that you haven't already said. When Henry killed himself, obviously I knew it was coming. Sam didn't know, so she's like, we're both like in tears.
Yeah.
I knew it was happening. I was still in tears because it's such a sad moment. And I said, I turned to her earnestly and said, I would have did the same thing. I would have killed myself. If we're in an apocalypse and it's just me and Grayson, something happened, or just you and Grayson, something happened to me, and your only job is to survive and protect that kid.
Yeah. No. What else is there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What else is there?
And something happens to that kid. He's, like you said, he's in disbelief, and the camera heartbreakingly pans to the blood pooling away from his head.
Oh God, that was that was a terrible shot. Well, a very well done shot, but emotionally terrible to witness.
Henry did by instinct what he's done 100 times when he sees clicker. Well, that's actually not true. He said he hadn't really shot any. But his instinct took over and he did what he had to do. And it was, you really got the no, if anyone's going to shoot him, it's going to be me. But after he did, like you said, it's what did I do? What did I do? And then immediately and without hesitation. And I have to say, I would have did exactly the same thing. If my job in that apocalypse is over, if I failed at that, then there's no reason. Why even wake up the next day?
Yeah. It's a great happy note to end the podcast on right there.
And with that, where can everyone find you? That's the end. It's a sad episode. What do you want from me? Hopefully they get less sad. I don't know.
Yeah.
The game is great because it deals with tragedy in a real way. It's, the premise of every modern zombie property is it's about the humans, but Last of Us really took that and made gripping and compelling storytelling about humans that are very tragic. And I can't wait. I had reservations about them being able to do the entire game in the first season, and it looks like they just might be able to pull it off.
Yeah. And
I've seen some complaints online, not even from just friends, but from the general public about, well, they keep doing these intro characters kill them, like that's going to get old. Honestly, it's not old to me, even in the slightest yet. I think they've handled everyone and given them the time they need. I know that there was a lot of gameplay segments with Henry and Sam, and I know that in the game, that's how you build rapport with them, but it's a different medium.
Yeah.
And they built that rapport a different way. And at least for me, I think it worked great. And I can't wait to see the next episodes. I can't wait to see where it goes. Yeah. That's it.
I think so too. I think so far the extra characters, the supporting characters, that's what I was trying to say, come in, they make their point, and then they go. And I think that's good enough for me. Exactly. In a TV show, like in a game, you're, with Bill, you're sneaking through the city and blah, blah, blah. And that's where the conversations happen, that you get to know him and sort of the co-development. But it's just like with a TV show, it's done a little differently. I think it's staying more faithful to the game than people are letting on. And I haven't had any problem with the pacing. I don't want things to just linger for the sake of time. Like, okay, it's been 90 minutes of screen time, so now we can kill him. Like, I don't know. Just the growth was there. I was fine with that. It doesn't feel rushed to me. I don't know. It still could happen. There's a lot of ground to cover left, and I think the whole season's only 9 episodes, right? So we only have.
Is it only 9 episodes?
That's
I don't know.
Maybe I'm just making that number up in my head, but we're talking only 4 episodes left in that case. So, but no, I continue to love it.
Yeah, I think it's really great. And with that, we are done. Somehow ran longer than I expected us to. We only had one main topic.
Yeah.
We did talk a lot about Flash though, but I basically gave the entire synopsis of the fucking Flashpoint comic line. Surprise! You came to the wrong podcast if you're upset about that. All right, where can everybody find you, Derek?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I do want to start streaming again soon. Twitch and Twitter at Dr. GloomMD. That's DRGLOOMMD. Right now, I'm just doing the Cynical Nerd streams on Saturday. Well, that's all I've done, I should say. But I do want to get back into it. Need more hobbies. I need to keep my brain more occupied because it's melting into dog shit.
Yeah.
We should have an counter for every time I say on every episode.
I try to cut back. I just did it again, even talking about not saying it.
Chris, where could they find you?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Crispy Mana or Mana, CRISPYMANA.
You just took that from me.
That's M as in Mancy.
Oh,
little Archer reference.
All right, I want to do that point again though. I feel like I could do a better. Like, see that? Where can they find you?
That's pretty good.
Hey,
You
Chris,
held your finger.
where can they find you? Shit.
There you go.
Last try. Chris, where can they find you?
Crispy Mana, Mana, potato, whichever one you want. Yeah, and I just said again. The Cynical stream is going to be every Saturday until probably I have the baby and then I can't for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's, either of our channels. We're looking like 9 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday evenings. Come check us out. Again, questions, comments, concerns, corrections, tweet at us, email us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com. I don't think I did the email address when I shilled socials earlier. You can also tweet at us, hashtag AskTCN or hashtag FuckTCN. We're going to try our best to bait James Gunn into retweeting our thumbnail for this week's image. I'm going to slob the gun knob, if you will. I'll give him a 1 week celebrity pass to the glory hole of TCN.
He's certainly graying.
Don't listen to this.
He's not graying. He's just white. It's just been whited.
But I like that. Like if my hair was fully white, I'd be totally okay with it.
Yeah.
I think I would look weird, but I would be okay with it. He beat me, really, which he should because he's older than me, but still. Either way, looking forward to all the stuff we talked about tonight. We'll see you next week for episode 94.
See you there.
So we'll see you there, or we'll see you at other times.
Yeah.